And we'll be back on Monday, streaming across 4 platforms: LinkedIn, which is the primary platform for me, X.com, Twitch, and YouTube. I had the video set as made for kids on YouTube, so we weren't getting any comments on there. But again, the 2 people that watched it probably didn't have much to say anyway. So, yeah, I was going to wear a cap today, but I felt like I looked a bit grim. So let's get started then. Let's make sure our camera's ready. Today I'm going to work on a couple of things. First of all, we are going to do our standard stuff, which is our crowdfunding review, looking at the platforms, seeing what's going on. And then from there, we're going to ultimately... It's not embedding it. And then we're going to do some decks. And I did a deck template last year, got downloaded over 1,600 times, which is great for something like that. We're just going to retune that, redesign that, make sure that's relevant. And then we'll put that out later today, basically. But yeah, let's crack on, eh? I got a couple of emails from Crowdcube saying that they got some new campaigns launched. So let's dive in and see what they've launched. Yeah, it looks like this. We've not reviewed We Are Eves. And we've not reviewed Wiser Media. Newest? Yeah. 20 days. Oh, and B Triton's launched as well. I did look at that one online. I actually was so curious. I went and looked at the website of the product, which is quite rare, but it shows those emails do work, though. You know, like I can't help but get an email. We Are Eves. Yeah, we are Eves. Living in Spain's ruined the way that I pronounce words. Is on a mission to bring more transparency to the beauty industry through community-driven e-commerce. Real people share their honest experiences, empowering users to make informed purchases decisions in the beauty market. Bit of a look at the deck slides. Too much nonsense. There's a lot of insecurities, wasted products, and bad buys. People buy up to 10 products before buying the right one. Is that not just because they love shopping, though? I mean, I've got a daughter who literally just loves buying things. It's not necessarily about trying to find the right one. And then what happens with the right one? You keep a hold of it forever? I don't know. Live now. Embed chat. Let's see if chat. Okay, right. That is supposed to be a chat screen. Now, if anyone messages that chat screen, apparently the message is going to come up there. It's so tiny, so I can't imagine anyone's going to see it, but I guess that's life. Anyway, so they've done 800K from 40 investors, which is relatively low. 40 investors is quite a low amount, especially for Crowdcube. They want to see campaigns launching around the 100 mark. Not just the 0 mark. I mean, not the 40 mark. So, hey, it is what it is. 14 million pre-money valuation. Now, what we try and do with these crowdfunding campaigns is see if they've sold anything, if there's actually anything behind it. 135,000 members, 374,000 reviews, 29 million views. I mean, that's a lot. That is a lot. 29 million of anything's a lot, including shekels. This company reading reviews. Okay, let's see how they make money. Business model: revenue from brand partnerships, e-commerce sales, and data subscriptions using community reviews to benefit. I mean, that is my big challenge with the new Crowdcube format without downloading the summary of key information and risks. Yeah, it just doesn't give you enough information anymore to make any type of decision. 6.4 million VC investment to date. Wow, that's a lot of VC investment. I think if I spent 6 million, I could get 125k newsletter signups. So I don't know if that's a big thing or not. Okay, well, yeah, whatever. You can't really make any type of investment decision off that. It looks cool, sounds cool, but it's too big. Too big. Sorts of renewables we looked at. Wingley, where's he gone? Our, where are he? Where's the bikes gone? Oh, there it is. B-Triton. Okay, 29k, that would just about buy one of these things. The base model is about 17k online. It's pretty punchy. I'm just going to leave it on mute because we got copyright striked for our no pence in revenue. But have a look at this thing. So basically it's an amphibious bike that you can... I think it's hilarious. It's one of the funniest things I've seen on a crowdfunding platform, but I think it's more suited to something like Kickstarter, to be honest. But the value of it's so high that it makes it so difficult for anyone. I mean, I live there. That's literally me right there. Oh, no, it's not. What is that map? I'm down here. I thought that was the Mediterranean. It's a Friday. Let me off. Yeah, there's no chance I'd take that thing in the sea. Absolutely no chance I would take that thing in the sea. But really cool, and I hope they hit their target. 29% is low. Again, I'm so stunned that Crowdcube keep doing this. You know, back in the old glory days of crowdfunding, you couldn't launch with 29%. And I've had so many campaigns that have been blocked and stopped at 29%. That it really makes you wonder. I don't know what it makes me wonder, but it's definitely making me wonder. Look, guys, that chat is I'm gonna have to work on this chat box, but it's just too small. You can't read anything anyway, and I don't even know where the chat's sort of consolidating for. But hey, if you write something, your name may appear on the screen. It may not. Who knows? 3 million money pre-money valuation. Target 100k. Again, that is really low. 100k is a very low target for a crowdfunding platform. The short-term rental market. What's their business model? Simple rental focused business, which is a rental fleet charging fees to businesses to sell unit to other rental companies. Oh, okay, so they're not selling to the end user. They've raised 385k and 150k in public grants, and they're now doing a bridge round. It's cool. I mean, I must say I quite liked it. I thought the product's novel enough. It looks hilarious. I wouldn't be taking it out on the sea like that, no chance. But then again, I'm a wimp, an absolute wimp. So I'm not the target customer for that. I'm terrified of heights. I don't love Wales, not the country. Where I live in the look at this. Look, where I live, the killer whales are sinking yachts in the Mediterranean. I mean, this isn't talked about enough, people, but there's killer whales sinking yachts in the Mediterranean. And I know initially we think, poor yacht, but it keeps happening. It keeps happening. These dramatic video
of killer whale.
Look, and they bang the boats. Can you believe it? You'd never imagine it, and they keep sinking these. They keep sinking these ships. It's pretty crazy. So there's no chance I'm getting in your little bike boat and going on the Mediterranean. Not a chance in hell. So for that reason, I'm out. But for every other reason, I think it's hilarious, and I'm in. The naughty ones, well done. They've hit their target. That's great. 2 days remaining. Well, we're not sorted by newest here. Doesn't think it knows what new means, unless they only launched with 2 days to go. I'm not sure. Great Island Productions, a TV company from Cork. Nah. Let's get on with the juicy stuff. So, today my ambition is to refresh last year's pitch deck templates. So what I made last year was this, and we're going to remake it today. I think we'll change the business as well. We've got 50 minutes, so we can change the business. But what happened is basically, so how I did it is that I made a read-only file, as you can see, deck template 2024. I've got a new favorite tech. I used to love Poppins, but I now love one called Fig Tree. It's like Poppins, but a little bit more crunchy. It's a crunchy pop. And basically, so on the blacks, this was the theory anyway. On the black slides, I explain, and on the white slides, you edit. So, title page, and then section 1. In the first section, you pitch deck the company purpose slide should offer a clear, memorable, one-sentence explanation of your company's goal. Avoid complicated, grandiose vision statements. I actually disagree with that now, so let's just... I absolutely love the grandiose. I can't imagine I wrote that word. Clarity is key here. Boiling your purpose down to a single sentence will help hook investors at the beginning so they continue to read through your deck. So we all know the theory with YouTube videos in particular that you have to have a big hook to get people in and get them excited. And it's the same with a pitch deck, in my opinion. You know, you've got to have something that says, we are the Netflix of tricycles that swim. So that's the mission statement, and I made this deck, the template, about zombies, just because it was designed to be completely obvious that this was just, the slides were just a joke. So we go into the problem slide, the problem affecting 750 million. These are actually real stats. I actually researched these. 10% of the global population dread zombies. So that's 790 million people across the globe. I just thought that was hilarious. Again, when you write so many pitch decks like I do, and you see stats like this, it is pretty funny. It was a funny troll. I don't know how many of the 1,600 who downloaded it got the joke. Let's have a look for the statistics. Scores on the doors. Log in. Yeah, it was 1,079 in total. 2 in the last 7 days. Maybe that was me. I don't know. But yeah, it's not bad. Over 1,000 people used this pitch deck, which is pretty cool. Next comes the solutions. Obviously, we go mission or vision, problem, solution. Our solution can save humanity. API. That was also really funny. The Apocalypse Preparedness Institute shortens to API. Maybe I'm just the only one who found it funny, okay, but that's fine. Sometimes you've got to find your own stuff funny. Morning, Carl. How's it going? We've got a chat. We've had a message, but it hasn't showed up on the screen. So we can pretty much, unless it's going to have a little delay, let's find out. But it hasn't shown up on the screen, so we can take our feed as not working. And I don't even know where that message is, so I've got no idea how the message function works. We're still getting to grips with this. But that's life, eh? Anyway. So after this problem solution, we then go to why now. Buzzwords galore, get them in. This has to be the eureka moment for the reader. So look how big this problem is. Look how big this solution is. And now is the right time for us to solve it. If you can do that, those 3 slides alone are enough to get someone on a call. And then we just sort of affirm it after. So we can't leave it too late to act. With recent events as the COVID pandemic, people realize there's a growing interest in disaster preparedness. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if this business actually exists. Some of the trash that I read, this is actually pretty good. And ironically, I put this deck into Alexander McDonald sequel. They made a deck template, like a deck reader. It actually scored really highly on the deck reader, which is quite funny, considering it was complete trash. And I was hoping someone from their team had to sit and read it as if it was serious. Section 5, product. So what do you actually sell? And that's that. Training experiences, e-commerce, subscription. Some is designed so base that we'll change it today. Next, market size, top tip. It's all about how much money you can make. If you can have a big market, you need to show it. Be careful not to alienate reader with stupid numbers, though. Okay, we shouldn't write the word stupid, so let's put that in red to come back to. Yeah, these are real stats that made me laugh. Ultimately, 4 million people worldwide participate in Tough Mudder events. Zombie movies have combined 1 trillion in revenue. So if we combine zombie movies and Tough Mudder events, we've got a $1 trillion industry. A zombie-themed 5K obstacle race, Run for Your Lives, attracted 400,000 participants in its first year. So again, whilst I was joking with this deck while I was researching it, I actually found out it was pretty punchy. So yeah, that's that. Next comes the team, and it's only me, unfortunately. So that is what it is. Business model. How do you actually make money? So 50% we wanted to sell tickets, app subscriptions, and e-commerce. I thought he looked a bit like Kanye West, so I left that in. Section 9, traction. So how are you doing? Oh, that was a good one. Our traction is infectious. I thought that was a fun joke. Revenue grows year on year due to infecting our users with incurable illness. So I was going to use network effects and just basically attack people. We launched in 2020, haven't been bitten by a zombie. This is the second part. So when we're looking at traction and roadmap can normally be joined in the same slides. So you can have, here's what we've done and here's where we're going. Don't forget with pitch decks, it's all about getting across to the next slide, getting the reader to read to the next slide. And to do that, you have to sort of get them into the mindset that every time their brain asks a question, we're going to answer it. So yeah, if anyone's just tuning in, because I appreciate we're live across 4 platforms today. We're on Twitch, we are on X.com, we are on LinkedIn and YouTube. I'm supposed to be having comments, and hello, we've got someone watching on X. We've got, I don't know, I can't see if anyone's watching on Twitch or not. We've got a few on LinkedIn as well. So far this week, I've had about 2,500 views across these streams, which is cool. I'm going to delete this chat box just because it's not working. And we're going to have to go back to the drawing board, unfortunately, on a live chat feed. But I'll fix it. I'll work it out. Next section comes financials. And again, just some sort of example. It's not a beautiful slide, this one, because I didn't have any real data to work with. Competition. Zombie Defense League. I think they're jokes. Fundraising ask, and that's the deck done. So let's get spicy and get into it. So I actually downloaded that. And I guess I've changed my stance nowadays on sort of design. So the first thing that I recommend for pitch decks, if you're doing enough of these things, is Envato Elements. It's very good. It's got everything from templates all the way through to stock videos, stock images. It seems to have a bit of everything. So I use it mainly for photos and images. Although when you are designing on YouTube and Google in particular, you can just right-click and replace from the web. But let's make this a little bit more fancy today. Let's try and take this. I think we'll keep the content the same, and let's just try and take the actual deck to the next level a little bit. So, zombie preparation. Yeah, as terrifying as I thought it would be. But let's get it in. Okie dokie. Insert image. Upload. I need that to load on another screen now. Okay, so the first thing we're doing is just cropping this so it actually fits the page. And what we're going to do is we're just going to make a nice background over the top of this thing. For some reason. Okie dokie. So yeah, we're going to make a nice background over the top. This is sort of... that logo's tragic as well. That is so 2023, so we're probably going to have to do something about that. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a gradient to it. In fact, we're just going to get rid of that logo in its entirety. So as you saw, we've now put a filter over the back of it. So if we go to black like that, it's on 100% transparent. And that. So with the front page in particular, I need a new name for the zombie company. So if we go on graphic template, so look, in here you can find everything, logos, all sorts. So that would be something that I would do. Let's call it Undead. I think that's what we'll call it. How do we get that little square? There it is. Let's see if we can get him in there. Yeah, Undead with a little square symbol. And I've put a squared symbol there just because ultimately it's our second iteration. Let's see if we can. Okay, so in this here, the original theory was that you need a descriptive line, but we know it's a pitch deck, so you don't need to write pitch deck. Really, you need to write something about your brand, or again, we're trying to get the reader to read to the next page. So let's go with, in this context, God, that's a hard. Outlast, how do you say that? Wasn't a million miles away. Okay, let's go with outlast, outlive, outmaneuver. Okay, so here we are. So this is a new homepage we've made with a terrifying background image. And this is a little bit more 2024, which is what we're aiming for ultimately, just to make something a little bit more modern and fresh. So let's get rid of that. Let's bring this in. Let's turn him black. Let's put him as... Okay. And all of this font is horrible nowadays. Okay. I think that's fine. This image is a bit... Again, I'm trying to make a template for people, so I used a circle. It was a little bit cleaner, but circles ain't cool anymore, unfortunately. And the idea is that it's a template that people can use. So again, we'll try and just bring some nice elements in. So when you're taking shapes like this, again, this is a Google Slides. I don't love Google Slides if I'm designing a deck for clients. I'll work in Illustrator generally, but with this, it's a case of I'm trying to make it something that people can use and engage with. So it has to be collaborative. Anyways, nice squares there, nice and... Our mission. I'm gonna have this as vision. I don't love mission anymore, so we need to company. No. Cool. Okay, so again, if you're going to take this, what we could do here, for example, just to sort of to make the slides more designed, you can always... Let's just drag that down. You know, something that people don't do enough is try and make background images. So again, to make a background image, we take an image, we send it to the back, we get our nice, wonderful screen over the top of it, or the center back. And if we then make this text white, for example, it can stand over the top of it. And we're just looking for the edge of the deck there. But we need contrast anyway, so it's no good being black. So the same thing, we're going to just click the little plus button. We're going to... don't know why it was that color. We're going to change it to white, because we need a white slide. Cool. So we've got undead, our last out maneuver, outlive. We then come into our vision statement. Let's maybe just make it, which is fine, okay. Sweet. Section 2 is, oh no, oh there it is. Okay, Section 2, the problems. Similar to your purpose statement, the selection should be broadly define the specific problem your company is solving. This is very important for obvious reasons. The problem statement is the bit that's going to hook everybody, and generally when feeding back on pitch decks or reading through pitch decks, it's the number one place that I've got feedback. Like, if your problem's not strong enough, then kind of what's the point? So you have to make sure there's a big problem here. And again, we're just going to start to copy these elements and make sure everything's nice and matchy-matchy. So here. Okay, get rid of that. Bring him to this side. Get rid of this gross font. So 2023, 2024 is all about sharp, crunchy fonts. The problem affecting 790 people, globally. Cool. Again, that slide's fine, but we can't use the same image. So much AI stuff now in these. Yeah. There we are. I love that little symbol. I love it. I find it is one of the greatest gifts to humanity, especially when being a pitch deck writer. It's a beautiful symbol. It doesn't get used enough. So yeah, try and get them in there, the little squiggle. I don't know, I've not got a clue what it's called, but I love it. But yeah, I'm going to just delete this background just because, again, the idea of the pitch deck is to keep it simple for people. Not make it complicated, and that's just too many images for them to change. And let's add a square in here as well, just to keep with that same design format. Cool. Vision. Problem. Okay, next is the solution. So obviously when we set a big problem, we then need to have a big solution. That is the key. Oh, whoa, we've been tagged in a post. Let's have a look what gets said here. Being hyper-competitive is a trait of successful entrepreneurs. I hate losing. I talk to Jamie Harford about this a lot. He does. That is true. And every time he sends me something, I tell him I'm probably going to beat him because I don't really like it. What we supposed simply wasn't good enough. Even though we had moved to heaven and earth as founder, they got another offer that trumped ours. Instead, we're looking on the bright side. Doesn't mean we've got space to work with one more founder. Hey, there's Mike. Look at him. It's in his boxing gear. Wow. The other guy looks like he's got no teeth. So either Mike's fighting a heroin addict or he's beat the living out of him. Sure. I mean, I really like Mike. If anyone wants to get on Mike's accelerator, he's a great guy, so I recommend it. Definitely recommend it. Head on over. Anyway, solution. So this was a bit of formatting I did last time to sort of make the... So when you got rid of this slide, these two scrolled into each other, up and down. So we're going to have to redo that now in a different way. Because we're not using circles anymore. Our solution can save humanity. Not the bet, to be fair. If I was critiquing this deck, I probably wouldn't love that. Yeah, this solution's not good enough. So we're going to have to do something about that. I guess, unfortunately for me. Fortunately for you. It's the same thing. We're going to try and do... let's take it below that line there. Whoa. So the whole point of these streams is ultimately to get you up, get you prepared, get you ready for the day. I mean, for me, it's a case of I know that if I do these streams, everything else in the day is going to be sweet. I can do pretty much anything if I put my mind to it. But this gets me moving, has something for me to do at 9:30 8:30 every morning. I mean, ultimately, one of the biggest challenges of being a entrepreneur is the fact that it's alone. It's a solo mission. It's a brutal solo mission, yeah. So with that in mind, we have to get up and get on with it, So that's kind of what I'm trying to do with these sessions, for me anyway. Now we need to somehow build a shape around that shape. Let's just get that out of the way for this second. He also needs to go off the bottom there. That looks like a bit of a dross phone screen. Now that's the problem with that shape. People that say to me, "Oh, how come it takes 2 weeks to make a pitch deck?" What you don't realize is that you can spend a whole day doing something, or even like 3 hours doing something, and then you just don't like it. It's just like, oh, it just doesn't work. So, it's not like every single thing that you do pushes you forward. You can do stuff that sends you miles back, ultimately. But I'm quite happy with this format, actually. I've sort of stumbled upon there by chance, I guess. But again, that's the nature of the beast with design. You just never know what's going to work or what's not going to work. And, ultimately, you're taking these risks on an ongoing basis. But I like that. I think that's pretty clean. That looks quite nice. I think anyone who drops their images in here will look good. I think I downloaded a picture. Cool. Our solution can save humanity. So the idea is to get a big statement in there, big punchy statement that sort of upload from computer. Just put my logo on these black slides. Yeah, this is like a working session today. I've done enough looking at crowdfunding campaigns. I need to do this template anyway and just refresh it for the modern era. So that's what we're going through doing now. Yeah, I quite like that black element. I'm wondering if you'll work anywhere else. I think the answer is yes, he does. He's a versatile guy, this black shape. So let's get him in just a bit more additional design. And as you can see, kind of layering stuff, you're building stuff up. You never know what's going to work. That's the nature of the beast with these things. You just have to sort of try and get something that looks crisp and clean, ultimately. This is our why now slide. So let's have a look at this again. So why now? What we're trying to do is get people to... So with pitch decks, we have this... we have an economic need. We have an urgent need. There has to be a need. You can have the best idea in the world, but if it doesn't scream, give me your money, then no one's going to give you the money. So, for example, a lot of businesses were focused on the cost of living crisis, and they used that as their sort of hook to get investment from investors. So it's like, I'm solving this problem. We need to solve it now. And the biggest mistake people make with these, we need to solve it nows, is they think that well-funded competition's a good reason. It's like, oh, if I don't solve it now, there's someone else who's got funding and they're going to beat us to it. That is like the biggest red flag in the world, because it's like, well, why am I going to throw 100K at a sack race, you know? Well, I don't need to do that. I'm just going to keep out of the way. So again, the why now has to be relevant way beyond just competition. It has to be, you know, economic urgency. It needs to be a social good urgency. There needs to be some form of urgency that is relevant ultimately for the business. Otherwise, it's just never going to happen. We can't leave it too late to act. So I think in this one, really, what I would be looking to do. Anyway, we can sort of design in a second, but what I would now do is yeah, so what I do is I make the screens a nice size for... Oh, their website's just awful. So again, what we're trying to do here is create news images. No. So this is what he's... So again, I'm just making screens that sort of just some news articles. Just to sort of back up what we're saying, you know. And make sure when you're quoting sources like this, that ultimately, okay, so we've only got 3 because I can't find 4. When you are quoting sources like this, make sure that you basically get relevant ones, and I mean relevant as in time, like no one cares about anything. No one cares about anything from the past, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so So if you're using this template, try to get 3 news stories, basically. And let's see if there's a way we can make these look good. It's annoying that that one was black and they're white. That is really annoying. As we discussed, circles are so 1994. We're now using rounded squares. Let's get our logo in. Okay, that'll do. Can't leave it too late to act. Some Britons should have 3 days worth of tin food and water. Why is it so hard to be prepared for disasters? Disaster risk out of control. So that will be a good problem statement ultimately. I mean, a good why now. I mean, one thing that I've not done necessarily is label these slides, which we should probably do in this bottom corner here. Okay, so we've managed to get through title. Just make that. So get a bit more of that evil image through. Cool. Title, why now? Actually, this should be on the other side. We've done a lot on that side, so we need to get some. Hey, it's Friday. Excited for this weekend. I've got a bit of work to do today, ultimately. But apart from that, we're all good. Bit of work to get through today, and then we're all good. Chill for the weekend and back at it next week. But I mean, ultimately, as you can see, this is kind of how we build pitch decks nowadays in 2024. You just have to go through slide by slide. There are a few AI pitch deck builders now, but the problem with them is you can kind of get yourself stuck. One, they are in a weird platform, so they're quite hard to edit and collaborate on. And two, just make stuff yourself. Just make stuff yourself. I think that's my key message here. Yeah. So next we go into product. And again, these are all circles and totally grim, so we're gonna have to get rid of all of that. Get rid of all of that as well. And these text blocks are way too chunky. I think it's quite hard to sort of see what's going on. again, I used to love, I can't remember, what font was that? Quicksand, gross. I don't know why I ever used Quicksand. I never liked Quicksand. But what we're trying to do here is just modernize this a little, and hopefully it gives you a good insight into sort of how we spend time building pitch decks nowadays. I appreciate I probably do make it look a lot easier than it is. That's just because it's my job. And if I watch you do your job, you'd probably make it look easy. So don't beat yourself up. I'm, I've just got the muscle memory, I think, for doing this type of stuff. I do prefer Google Slides. I think if you can work in Google Slides on pitch decks, you should do that. Just because. We're actually going to do a background slide on this one just because, we need it to stand out a little bit. I think it's a little bit beige as it is currently. And let's get a new background image. Oh, that's cool. So what we could do is we could use our white background instead, and we could change that to black. Our unique complete offering. Our product serves the core zombie survival community across the globe, which I'm a proud part of. Again, welcome to anyone new. We're streaming across 4 platforms today. We're on LinkedIn, X, YouTube, and Twitch. I did have a comment feed up, but I broke it. It just wasn't working. I have been getting messages, but it's impossible for me to see them, unfortunately. But hey, what we're doing is we're building this pitch deck template, which I'll share once it's finished. The idea is that these are the sort of explainer slides, and then you're going to change the content on these slides, and you should have a professionally designed pitch deck. So company vision, here's the instructions, come in, change this picture, change the vision text to your own. Hey presto, slide's done. Problem slide, read this, learn, check the news for something that's relevant to your startup. We want the problem to be linked to the real world. Narratives change, keep up. And there it is, the problem. So again, change the picture, change the text. Hey presto, you've got a problem slide. Solution, our solution can save humanity. Why now? Can't leave it too late to act. And we put these images in of some of the news that's been coming out recently. There was some tragic news from Mallorca last night. There was a building collapse. I was going to read the news today, but I didn't. I was gonna read the Financial Times. I thought that would be pretty funny if I just sit and read the Financial Times for now. But yeah, I read the news this morning. It was pretty grim, so I thought I'm just gonna keep away from that. And we're now on to the product slide. So we've done why now, can't leave it late to act. Maybe they should be red outline just to make them sort of pop a little bit more. Gross. And now we're doing a product slide. This is way too wordy here, ultimately. If I was to do it again, I would have product. I'd have service, price, margin. That's how I would do it if I was doing this again. So service. So yeah, that's what I would suggest for a product slide. Just make sure that it's very clear what it is that you actually do. I mean, the big question I've always got off the back of reviewing these things for people is, great, how much money do you make? You know, like, how much money do you make? What's the margin? One of my clients that sells golf simulators, and he's like, oh, we've got a 50K sale coming in. And I was like, great, how much money do we make? How many suppliers do we have to work with to deliver it? You know, what's your margin? How much do you have to spend up front? How much of that can we take as a deposit? You know, there's more to business than just the revenue number, and investors know that, so you have to play to the choir ultimately. But yeah, look, that's my hour. Well, it's 56 minutes, but I've kind of done that slide. Keep an eye out for this. I'm going to get it finished up. I was hoping to get it finished today and release, but I'm a little bit too chatty, I think, to do 12 slides in an hour with descriptions. But hey, it's been wonderful. I'll see you back on Monday. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Like I say, we've been live on YouTube. We've got a couple of watchers on YouTube. We've been live on x.com. I don't know how you see how many people are watching on X. It's a little bit more confusing. We have been live on Twitch and, of course, here on LinkedIn. Keep an eye for my posts later. I'll be dropping some truth bombs and knowledge bombs. I'm either going to attack VCs or I'm going to do something on pitch decks because I'm in the mood. But yeah, it's been wonderful. Thanks, everyone, and I will catch you on